Everybody, it's Dr. Brett Brimhall here. Super grateful that you're able to hop on, some of you live, and I know many want the recording. And the reason why I chose to do this on such short notice is I have people come in every day that are sick, and some of them have been sick for weeks and sometimes months, and it doesn't have to be that way. So I'm going to give you some simple tools that will help you get started now immediately. If you're one of those people like, hey, I want to like shorten the duration of a cold, or you know what, I am sick all the time. I catch everything that comes my way. You're going to have some solutions. Or you're one of those ones that you're getting ready to be around a lot of family and you don't want to get sick or you don't want to get other people sick. This is for you. Or if you're one of those people that say, you know what, I just want to know like what behaviors or habits that I've got to change. And now this recording you'll have if you want it, and you can send it to friends and family so they can also have those tools. So it's not you the one telling them what to do, because I know that always doesn't turn out well. So I'm gonna share my screen. What I'm going to promise you at the end of this is that you're going to have a very simple ability to know what tools and strategies to apply right now. And none of this is secret, but it's just all the stuff I'm going to share with you is based on a lot of science and over 30 years of clinical experience of my dad and myself, actually close to 50 with him, of what really works. So I'm going to share my screen and you guys are going to get to learn. I'm going to ask you if you want, you'll get the recording, but you're welcome to actually do screenshots so that you can have them for later. You can text them out to people. But here's the big picture when it comes to the immune system. The immune system is a complex system that its job is to protect you against viruses, bacteria, and other things that are in your environment. And your immune system, it learns, it adapts, and remembers past threats. That's its job, which is why autoimmune problems, which we won't talk about a lot, tie into this. Now, this whole system that is designed to protect us and help us repair is influenced by things we do every day, like sleep, stress, diet, and lifestyle. So I want you to have a visual of what that looks like. The immune system is everywhere. Like it's in every cell, it's around every organ, every tissue, because its job is to protect us. Now, what's interesting about our immune system, though, the bulk of it, so think of it the barrier, like if you have an army and you want to protect a city, you want to have a big good barrier, a big wall. It's the bulk of it is in our gut. So 80% of our immune system lives in our gut. And that really involves basically from your mouth all the way out. It's designed to protect us. And if you want to include the skin in that, I would. That protective barrier part of the immune system is designed to do just that. It's a barrier to let things in that are supposed to get in and not let things in that are not supposed to get in. So God, knowing that, said he, look, oh, let's put the bulk of the immune system there, which goes back to things that you do that influence the barrier membrane of your gut barrier and your skin have huge consequences on how your immune system is going to handle the insults that it's get under. Now, the other place that it is in your bone marrow. Now, so the bone marrow is actually where our white blood cells are mostly made. So if your bone marrow is not healthy, it doesn't have the nutrients it needs. It also doesn't get the exercise to compress that bone marrow. Your immune system will not function well. And unfortunately, this is where heavy metals play a huge role into causing immune problems. Heavy metals like to go to bone marrow. Then you have your lymphatic system. So think of the lymphatic system as the sewer system, and it's also a communication system when it goes to communicating between the intestinal tract to the other organs and cells that are part of the immune system to coordinate the army to do the job. And then it's in your skin, it's in your lungs, mucous membranes. Like again, so you've probably noticed if you've ever been sick in the head, you get full of snot. Or if you've had bronchitis, your chest gets full of fluid. That mucus is designed also as a barrier to flush things out. And we're going to talk about here in a minute of things that you can do that will make that better or worse based upon what you do or do not do. And then another part of the immune system most people do not think about is the brain. The brain and the rest of the nerves has an immune component to it. This is what called the glial cells. But so every part of your body has immune cells. Their job is to protect. You think about the police model, serve and protect. That's exactly correct. And I'm going to go in there and communicate. Your immune system's job is to protect, to repair, and also communicate the battle back to the other players that are involved in this. If it all goes smoothly, Your body gets a bacterial, bacteria virus comes into your system. Your body recognizes it, identifies it, eliminates it, and removes it. Now, any place around there that causes havoc with that can turn into bad things. Now, whether that's, say, my body can't recognize it, or the barrier is broken down, so there's too much getting in, or I'm feeding it the wrong thing. My immune system is not healthy, and I'm feeding the bacteria and the viruses versus myself. That's a problem. You're not going to have a good immune response. All right. So to make it super simple, here's the most serious. Here's the top 10 things. Take a screenshot of this of things that suppress your immune system. I don't control this. This is 100% our responsibility. But you may be doing something unknowingly. So, for instance, chronic lack of sleep. It is an absolute damager to your immune response. So if you don't have good sleep behaviors, what I'm going to ask you to do is look at this top 10, say, how cool, I'm doing good here, good here, good here, good here. But I really want to focus my next little bit on this. So if you're going into the holiday season and you're like, oh man, I'm already messed up with my sleep. I'm already eating way too many like sugars and carbohydrates, and I feel like my stress level is off the charts. The odds of you getting sick, or what I call earning a cold versus catching a cold, you're asking for it. So what I want you to do is you look at these from lack of sleep, excess sugar and carbohydrates, stress, and it can be chronic and also acute, but mostly chronic, poor gut health, alcohol, over sanitation, and lack of immune exposure. So if you've never been out exposed to anything, they used to do back in the day with chickenpox called chickenpox parties. Like expose people to these bacteria so that the body can make an immune copy. So if you over sanitize the environment, the immune system doesn't develop. It's supposed to develop. Ultra processed foods and seed oils, a sedentary lifestyle. You're using stimulants. I'm going to call it caffeine. It can be other things. Stimulants as opposed to rest. So like I don't have time for that. You've ever heard yourself say that? So you do the stimulant, whether it's caffeine or a sugar or whatever it might be. You're using stimulants over rest. That's a problem. Or if you're being reactive. So if you just want to boil down a couple of key points, you're being reactive to being sick versus proactive. And it goes back to this really says last phrase. Most immune suppression doesn't come from germs, it comes from lifestyle. So most of the day-to-day choices that we make are why we end up getting sick or staying sick. Now, there's some individuals that it's not that way. They're kind of born into a situation where they actually are having a poor immune response. We still can work on these things. We can still improve. There's other people that they don't do all the right things, but they don't get sick. They may have a healthier response than we do. But you can work on controlling these. Let's say, hey, you went through high stress situations. Great. You did. Now, how do you get back into a good spot? All right. Now, here's the next fun part. Here's the 10 things that you can do to actually optimize your immune response. And again, this goes back to this is not like a checklist, like I suck at this. It's like, all right, here's where we're going to work on. Number one, consistent sleep. Number two, gut health. And that goes back to the foods that you eat. And just if you want to know how important this is, if you read the studies out there, they say we should have between 40 and 60 different types of plants or fibers consistently in order to have a healthy immune response. Most of us don't do that. So there's other ways I'll talk about you can do to maybe speed that up. Whole real foods. Again, if there's not a real food, if the processed food is not real. So again, going back to the immune system, if your body doesn't know what it is, can't recognize, it's going to be a problem. So if it's a fake food, it thinks it's a foreign subject and it will attack it. All right. Daily movement is critical just from the state of like being able to get move fluids out of your body. If you just don't move, your body gets more sore and achy. So is your immune system. It needs movement to move stuff out of your body. Stress regulation. And a couple key things. This is breathing, prayer, mindfulness. Find something that you can do that allows you to feel calm. And that's where I like that if you summarize, like, what does it mean to have stress regulation? What are you doing daily that helps you feel calm? And you can choose one. I use different techniques for myself. I do breathing, I do typical exercise, and I use a device called the Brain Tap. It's a way that helps me feel to use a tool to help my brain relax because I'm not great at meditation. I'm not great at yoga. Now, is that something I can work on? Absolutely. So I utilize tools to help me with that. This is where, to me, chiropractic plays into it, and also massage therapy or craniosacral therapy is finding other people to help you with that process. Adequate hydration. What does that mean? Hydration from it comes is water, only water. Half your body weight in ounces of water. Let's just say you weigh 200 pounds to make it easy math. That's 100 ounces of water a day, ideally. And also consider the type of water you're drinking. I don't know about you, I don't want to drink pond water. Just doesn't sound good. All right. I don't want to drink water out of the Colorado River, right, without being filtered. But most of the water you and I are drinking has come from tap water and then filtered some way. So you want to make sure, however you're filtering that, whatever you're choosing to get your water, have it be as clean as you possibly can. Now, for me, that's a whole house filtration system tied to a really good reverse osmosis system for me. Now, and I want to try to eliminate plastics and plastic water as much as plastic coming in water as much as I possibly can. Now, can I control the 100%? No, because guess what? Most of our water, guess where it comes from? From pipes that are plastic. So you want to find other ways to kind of filter it out. But yeah, it gets overwhelming. You just come back to, okay, what can I do on the daily? And if you're like, hey, I don't have the ability to do a whole house filtration, this is great. Start with at least a basic, good one you can put in your fridge. That's better than nothing. All right. That's adequate hydration. Remember, half your body weight ounces of water. Targeted immune support. I'm going to talk about that in a minute, more in depth. Consistent routines. What I mean by that is what happens. Stress is how often you adapt. So if you're constantly in a space where you feel like you're adapting, where you're not even getting up at the same time of day, not going to bed at the same time, or you're waiting for things to happen, where you're constantly in this fight or flight mode to put a fire out, that puts your nervous system and your immune system all on alert. So create a schedule for yourself of going to bed at the same time, waking up at the same time. Specific behaviors are as wind down processes. So for me, that looks like I wake up very similar at the same time. I go exercise for pretty the same time. I have a very specific routine that I do in the evening as well as a wind down process. That's just for me. So if you don't have one yet, it's a huge opportunity for you to unwind your nervous system. All right, early action is at the first symptoms. How many of you have ever done that thing where, like, you know what? You wait too long, like, oh, crap. I know I feel it coming on. I'm going to give you a few tools where you can hit it really fast and hard, but hit it at the area. So the best thing is to do it before it ever feels like this. So this time of year, I'm even more rigid on my routine, and I'm even more rigid on my sleep, and I'm even much more rigid on the vitamins and minerals and supplements and activators I take. And I'll kind of tell you what I do. You guys can choose that, but be more rigid this time of year, because if you're traveling, if you're around other people that are sick, if you're in an environment where there's a lot more stress, there's other people that are what I call great petri dishes. So a petri dish is what we put bacteria on to make them grow, which is made of sugar. Case in point, don't eat sugar. And if you're a lot of people around you that are like that, you better understand, you better make your immune system barrier much stronger than somebody else's, because you're going to be around them, right? Flying on airplanes, driving in cars, at parties. Okay. All right. So early action is always best. Then we're going to talk about the ability to handle stress and antioxidants, detox pathways. And here's kind of the summary of all this. Strong immunity is not built in emergency. It's built in daily habits. So as you look at these habits, both the do's and the do nots, what I would say, look at, okay, which ones can I start incorporating today? Which am I already good at? Good. Pat yourself on the back. Awesome. And then, okay, what's the next one? To me, it'd be sleep and hydration. And guess none of those don't cost us anything. Sleep and hydration really don't cost you much. You can do those things, and also what you put in your mouth. Those type of things are something you're already buying food. You're already, buying something to drink, but make sure you're putting in your body what you know will nurture it. All right. Take a screenshot of this. This is if you're like, hey, I'm going to go to a restaurant, I'm going to go to eat. If I'm going to the grocery store, these are the foods. These are the foods that will help you. And what I want you to understand, that it says these immune supportive foods work because they feed the gut, they reduce the inflammatory process, and they help regulate the body, not overstimulate it. And that's the key. So that gut is the barrier. The other part, the lymphatic system, the bone marrow, these are the regulators. These are the ones that communicate and coordinate the activity. These are the foods that keep the barrier healthy and the regulation appropriate. Now, when you look at them, you're like, well, I know these, right? But you mean some of these, like, when's the last time you had them? Like, when's the last time you had bell peppers or sweet potatoes or blueberries or turmeric of some kind or ginger as a common food? Or when you're eating like your meats, are you doing wild caught? Like I had wild caught halibut this week. I had wild caught salmon this week. pasture raised eggs. So, and, where are you getting your sources from? And again, I understand that everything has a cost. Being sick has a cost. Being healthy has a cost. Apply the ones that you can and replace the ones that are not ideal into something that's better. Plain yogurt. How many often do people eat yogurt, but it's got full of sugars? All right. Raw honey, citrus this time of year in Arizona specifically, this is when our citrus season is. So this time of year, as soon as Thanksgiving pops, I'll go down to my patients that own a big citrus farm, and what I do, I buy citrus, I eat it, and then I share it with people. So it's typically Christmas gifts I'll give to people because that is something I want in my environment, my diet, and theirs. So start incorporating these foods into your routine, and you're going to have a healthier immune response. All right. Now, here's kind of a summary of these three things. Now, the goal is to make this a short enough video where you guys can watch this, share with other people. Number one, supplements that you take, vitamins, minerals, supplements, activators, they do not replace lifestyle. Lifestyle is something that should become more evident and more prevalent and more controlled over time. And your best results are going to come from sleep, your foods, movement, and stress reduction. So if you feel like, hey, I'm struggling in those departments, work on those. Be intentional on those. All right. Especially right now where your next couple of weeks is going to be a little stressful with the new year. And maybe it's also this time of year you want to kind of reset. This is a perfect time, right? Immune support works at multiple layers, both in the cellular level, the gut, nutrients, and energy. Our goal is to balance that immune response so we have more resilience and readiness, not overstimulation. Overstimulation is called autoimmune processes. Now, I'm going to introduce to you what I do in the daily as far as what I do routinely and what I do in crisis mode. All right. When I'm back crisis mode when it's actually coming on. Now, unfortunately, a lot of people that I work with, including some of my family, they wait till they get sick. I know none of us would do that. But even if you do that, great. Utilize these tools or these strategies as tools to do that. Because I was talking to a dentist just yesterday. He said, well, if somebody's sick, I put them on a Z pack and I put them on a Medrol pack. Well, again, if it will, the symptomatics of being sick, you'll feel better faster, but that's also going to put your immune compromised longer until we rebuild the gut. So again, in crisis mode, absolutely, there are certain times where you should absolutely use antibiotics. But at the end of the day, you got to come back and how do I get a bit more healthy immune response? I can't remember the last time I've done antibiotic. I've been on antibiotic once in my lifetime, right? And it wasn't because I wanted to be, okay? And so most people, they're routinely on them, and it takes your body almost a year to rebuild from that. That's if your diet is good. So most people never get to a normal state. And that's if you never eat antibiotics in your food, which probably 99% of us do because we aren't buying 100% organic. All right, here's how we're going to support it. So there's two main companies that I use a lot of that as tools for myself and my patients. Number one is LifeVantage, and I use this because it activates the key cellular switches inside the cell to perform at their peak. So I use what's called Protandim Nerve 2. This product works by activating the body's ability to make enzymes that help to repair and control inflammation. Number two, I use P84. P84 is a microbiome support product. The short answer is this allows you to get all those things I put on that list, all the fruits, the vegetables, the herbs into a drink mix that I can put into my body daily. All right. Number three is Daily Wellness because it's a drink. It's easy for me to give to my kids or other people. I mix it in my other things. I take a probiotic. It's called ProBio. And then Nerf 1 is for the energy support. So every cell, including your immune cells, have mitochondria. Without Nerf 1, without the nutrients that Nerf 1 has, your mitochondria can't make energy. And NAD is the autophagy, is the cleanup guy. So that's a combination of what I do from LifeVantage. Then there's another company called Optimal Health Systems. You still need supplements. If you're not getting things right, you have to supplement. So this is in a crisis type mode. If somebody, so this time of year, I take what's called a natural Z pack. It's a combination of immune building nutrients in a pack that looks like this. I do that because I can just take a pack. If I'm traveling, I take however many packs I need in a day, and I can do it immediately. I have them sit out here on my front desk. So when patients come in and are sick, I say, you take one of those, and you start taking those and give those to the people that are next to you so they don't get sick. On top of that, I'll use OptiImmune, which is a product my dad made. I make sure I'm increasing my vitamin D, which most of us are deficient. I'd say probably out of 100 blood tests I'll do on people with vitamin D, I would say probably only less than 10% are actually in the normal range, let alone the optimal range. Most people are deficient, which means that they have poor immune response. People always ask, well, what do you use for vitamin C? Vitamin C is still valuable. So I use chewable vitamin C. And then especially when I'm dealing with upper respiratory stuff in the head, I'll use a zinc spray because I want that up into the nose and into the mucous membranes. And remember, a lot of people that can't smell after a virus, a lot of them are deficient in zinc because zinc protects the mucous membrane. Now, the one thing is specific I'll say is because if you're dealing with a upper respiratory, like let's say lungy and head stuff, that's a lot of times bacterial in nature. That's where I will use things that are more bacterial by nature with like what's called black seed pearls or heavy dose oregano. I'll use in those times. And then I'll use things called essential oils. I'll take peppermint, a little bit of peppermint, and I'll drop it in my water so that I'm drinking that to make sure the membrane stays super healthy. Now, this may be a lot, what I've shared with you. You don't have to do that all. I want you to give you options. But for instance, if you have a child and they aren't swallowing pills, well, then great, that P84 and the Daily Wellness is a powder. The chewable C is a chewable. So if you have a child or an adult male who acts like a child, right, it's great to have these type of tools where they can simply utilize that. Now, if they're in a massive problem, you don't want to just play with it. You need to knock it out, like get them more symptomatically feeling better, but then building on the other side. So if you end up going to an antibiotic, and that's what you need to get through that moment, understand you have to rebuild your microbiome. That's where I'd come back to using the P84. That's where I'd come back to eating the food and doing the probiotics. You have to do that, in my opinion, you should do it forever, personally, because our diets aren't great. But you need to do that for a minimum of 3 months to rebuild that, even though I would recommend you do it longer. All right. To summarize these and how I use them together on the daily, like I'm doing like Protandim Nerf 2, Nerf 1, NAD. I'm doing the P84 on the daily. That's just, I want that in my system always. Now, in an acute situation where something's going on, right, where I'm starting to feel yucky, I'm putting the black seed oil in there. I'm adding the natural Z pack. Like I'm pushing it in there a lot faster because I could give my body extra. Now, is there any harm in doing all this together? No. If you get too many vitamins or minerals, what you're going to feel happen is your stools are going to start getting loose. So if you start feeling like your stools are getting loose, then back it down. All right, just back it down. Now, you should daily be doing vitamin D and things like that, but here's just some blanket easy things you can start doing if you want. Now, if you're traveling, here's the other thing I say, if you're starting to travel, please look at adding, especially if you're not already doing these things daily, add in certain things to support yourself as you travel. If you do that, it matters. And here's the reality. Consistency matters more than intensity. So a healthy immune response happens over time because you're building that immunity up. Remember, the gut is 70, 80% of it. So if the gut's not really healthy, it's going to have a hard time absorbing your other nutrients, hard time acting as a barrier. So building that up is critical. So that's why I'd say minimum 3 to 4 months of doing things like the P84 to rebuild it. But long term, you have to support your energy long term. But if you're dealing with the situation that's like it's now, if you double and triple up on some of the things like the natural Z pack or some of those things, just understand if you take too much, your stools will get loose and then back it down. All right. And if it's respiratory or viral, that OptiImmune is something I would use over like the black seed oil is more of a bacterial. Okay. Now, to summarize, strong immunity is built daily, not over a minute. Okay. Supports your gut, your sleep, your hydration and movement, and your stress response. Avoid excess sugar. I would say avoid all sugar would be the reality. Sleep deprivation and pushing to exhaustion. Using supplements widely to support, not to replace habits. All right. I can't tell you how many people I've watched over the years, whether in chiropractic school or whether now, where they're burning the candle at both ends and they end up sick. I never got sick after finals because I was boosting my nutrition up drastically a month before finals because I knew that I was going to push extra hours, do extra things around that time. So if you are that way, here's some really simple choices, both from a food perspective, lifestyle choices. And here's my ask. My ask is that number one, you look at where you are right now and say, where do I want to be the next couple weeks when it comes to just having a good, healthy response? Add those things in you need that you really think you'll benefit from. I don't care if you do what you like in these products. I really don't. find a way for you to incorporate the things that you find are working for you, but it's important that you figure it out and do something. Number two ask is share this with friends and family loved ones that you feel this might be beneficial for that are struggling. And then my third ask is next year, be intentional in how you plan out creating these new habits of supporting your gut, supporting your sleep, better hydration, better movement, better stress response. Because no matter who you are, you're going to go through this life. There's going to be ebbs and flows, and all those have quicker resets and quicker rebounds. So I appreciate you guys hopping on. I'm going to end the recording here. And if you guys want to ask me some questions on your own, perfect. I'll go and do that. So let me stop this real quick, and I'm going to end the recording.